Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are jumping into something really specific and pretty wild.
We are. Our source is a super detailed session log from a Shadowdark RPG campaign, and we're zeroing in on one single night of, well, total chaos.
Right. Our mission, if you will, is to break down the disastrous events of Session 4 from December 1st, 2025. It's a mess.
It is. And this isn't just, a typical fantasy adventure. It's more like a study in what happens when a social encounter goes catastrophically wrong.
Who are we following here?
We have a party of 5. There's Watchroll the Fighter, Creme Brulee the Mage, Redbeard the Rogue, Murthen the Investigator, and Chubbs, who's a goblin priest.
Goblin Priest, okay.
Yeah. And they think they're on a simple rescue mission, but instead they walk straight into this very sophisticated trap set by a banished Fey Lord.
And it's important to note, especially if you know the Shadowdark system, this isn't just bad luck. The game really rewards careful thinking, and it punishes being rash.
Exactly. This is all about what happens when you fail to see what's right in front of you.
So just to set the scene super quick, what's happening right before the session starts?
Okay, so the party is banned from the main inn. They're recovering from a fight with some giant centipedes on a place called Fey Hill.
Right.
From that fight, they got a dog who they named Romeo and this weird coconut-sized blue egg. Their main goal is still rescuing a kid named Arthur Figworth.
And they think the Fae took him.
They're almost certain. And they have this one piece of intel that a local Fey Lord was banished years ago to a place called the Brew, which is buried right under that same Fey Hill.
So they're basically camped out waiting for a way in.
And that brings us to the Hen's Teeth Tavern, which is where they're staying. It's kind of a local spot for satyrs, goat people.
Okay, so the vibe is already a little strange.
And then it gets stranger. A woman named Periwinkle Black walks in. She's an elf in full leather armor.
And she immediately gets Murthen's attention.
Totally. She orders a hookah and smokes something called bog grass. Murthen notes it smells like a freshly cut lawn. Just very odd.
So he thinks she's the key to all this.
He does. And he goes over and starts questioning her about that blue egg.
How does that go?
It's total failure. She's playing the classic Fey game, maximum ambiguity. She'll only say it's maybe a bird egg.
And the satyrs in the bar.
Oh, they love it. They're laughing their heads off, yelling things like, wasn't that funny? Murthen is he's failing this social test he didn't even know he was taking.
But he doesn't give up.
No, he's tenacious. He just watches her. And it pays off. Right at the stroke of midnight, she gets up, walks to the big mirror behind the bar, touches it, and just disappears.
Wow. Just gone.
Vanishes.
So he asks the innkeeper, Flynn, what just happened.
And Flynn's no help at all. Swears he saw nothing, says it's just a nice mirror.
A nice mirror.
Right. But Murthen connects the dots. He realizes it's a Say portal, and he remembers this little poem he learned earlier, a sort of activation phrase.
The Mirror Man poem.
That's the one. He says the words, and the mirror ripples, and suddenly it's showing a whole new room. The door to the brew is open.
Okay, so here's my question. Knowing this is dangerous Fae territory, a prison even, why does Murthen go in alone?
I think it's a mix of things. Fae stuff, it always feels urgent, like the door could close any second. But yeah, it was also just pure recklessness.
He does grab someone, right?
He does. He wakes up Chubbs, the goblin priest, who's completely drunk.
Of course he is.
And he tells him to stand watch. Chubbs, to his credit, just says, yeah, you go first. It'll be safer that way.
Smart goblin.
So Murthen steps through. He's in this huge building, the Elf Lord's palace. A little goat man attendant named Hoops pops out of a wall panel.
And does he get a name for the Elf Lord?
Nope. Hoops just calls him the Elf Lord.
Yeah.
And he points Murthen towards a ballroom, saying Periwinkle is probably there. But then he adds this really sad detail. He says, I have no idea. I'm never invited.
Oof. So you immediately get the sense that this place isn't as glamorous as it seems.
Not at all. Meanwhile, back at the tavern, Chubbs gets the rest of the party. They say the poem, and they all tumble through the portal.
So they're all in now. But before they meet up, we should probably cover the backstory of this place. It's pretty important.
Oh, it's vital. The whole story of the Brew starts with the first human settlers, who were woodcutters. And they started chopping down the forest, which really angered the local fairies.
As it would.
Right. So this holy woman, Ludan, has to step in. And she consults an enchanted squirrel.
An enchanted squirrel, of course.
And the squirrel gives her the solution. Stop cutting down live trees and start raising pigs. And that's actually why the local village, Black Apple, is famous for its pig farming to this day.
So the truce works.
For a while. The village gets prosperous, and that angers a local elf lord. He was just cruel, arbitrary, making their lives miserable for no reason.
So what did they do?
A group of magicians got together and banished him. They literally forced him underground into the brood, this mound surrounded by standing stones. It's a prison.
So the person they're about to meet is an ancient, entitled tyrant who was kicked out for being a jerk.
That's putting it mildly. And they learn that pretty quick. The whole party is reunited, and this new attendant, a very chiseled, stoic guy, greets them.
And they ask about leaving.
They do. And he just sort of dismisses it. He asks, why would you ever need to leave? He says, if you have a girl back home, don't worry, you'll find a new one here.
Creepy.
The bro is designed to make you forget you ever had another life.
And this is where the real fame manipulation starts, because they're all in the same room, but they're not seeing the same thing.
Not even close. Murthan, maybe because he went in first, he sees this scene of, like, total decay. The furniture is worn out, packy. There are these animals, a cat, a dog, a goose, making this awful discordant noise. A little kid is just banging on a timpani drum. It's a nightmare.
But the others?
They see a grand party, beautiful music, finely dressed people dancing, the most plush velvet furniture you can imagine.
So they look at Murthan, who's yelling about a dump, and they just think he's lost his mind.
Exactly. They're convinced he landed on his head when he came through the portal. He keeps trying to tell them Fey magic is messing with us. But they don't believe him.
Is there any way for him to prove it?
Yeah, there's one moment he gets them to actually touch the furniture. And while they see this beautiful velvet, they feel worn, patchy fabric. A tiny crack in the illusion.
Wow, that's a great detail.
And remember that dog, Romeo?
Yeah, the one from Fayhill?
Well, the elf lord later reveals he's a cuss-side. A fairy dog.
So he's a spy.
Essentially, yeah. They've been carrying a magical chaperone with them this whole time, and they had no idea. They've been monitored from the start.
But even with all this weirdness, they don't leave.
No. They get invited to dinner by an attendant named Moth and Water, and he's described as having his eyes open wide like he's constantly seeing a horror.
That's reassuring.
He gives them one piece of good advice, though. He says the elf lord is capricious.
Which Watrel, the fighter, completely misinterprets.
Completely.
Yeah.
He thinks it's like a social game. He's like, oh, so if we don't like an answer, we just ask again later.
They have no idea what they're walking into.
None at all. So the dinner, the elf lord only speaks Sylvan, so Moth and Water has to translate everything. Watrel is just so out of his element, he can't figure out which of the many, many forks to use.
I can just picture it.
And the elf lord spends most of the meal telling this long, rambling story about someone named Master Ned who wronged him ages ago. And the punchline is that Master Ned was a horse.
A horse? He's holding a grudge against a horse?
For centuries, apparently.
Yeah.
It's all very strange. And then dessert arrives.
And this is where it all goes wrong.
This is where it goes completely off the rails. Watrel is served this beautiful thing called a cockatrice dessert.
You should never eat the Fey food.
Never. But he does. He takes a bite. And instantly, mid-chew, he turns completely to stone.
Just like that.
Boom. Petrified. The table goes silent. And the elf lord just looks at him and asks, why would you eat a cockatrice?
The casual cruelty is just...
Chubbs, seeing this, actually has a moment of insight. He looks at his dessert, a black pudding, and realizes it's a tiny, tentacled creature. He decides to pass.
Good move, but it doesn't save him.
Not even a little. The elf lord is done playing. He just points at Chubbs and says, you get thrown in the pit.
The pit of despair?
Chubbs asks if it's the pleasure pit first. The lord clarifies, no, it is the pit of despair.
And this leads to maybe the greatest exit line ever.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
As they're dragging him away, he panics and tries to compliment the elf lord. He yells, gee, you have really great hair. It's like thistledown.
And that's not all.
No. His absolute final parting shot, he just screams at the others, Murthan, I've always hated you. And Miss Periwinkle, he's got some sort of STD.
Just a beautiful, high-quality slander on his way out.
Truly. So they haul him across the room and just chuck him into this giant hole. He falls about 14 feet, lands with a crunch.
And what's the first thing he sees?
The first thing he sees, in the dark, is a horse-sized centipede lumbering towards him. And what's the first thing Chubb says to it? In total agony.
Don't tell me.
He meekly asks Master Ned.
Wow. So the whole session just fell apart. This wasn't a rescue, it was just a dinner party from hell.
A total social catastrophe. They made zero progress finding Arthur Figworth. Instead, Watrel is a statue, and Chubbs is injured in a pit with the Elf Lord's ancient grudge monster.
The big lesson here, I guess, is that vulnerability to Fey perception magic. If you can't trust what you see or touch, you're done for. Wattrell's fatal appetite just sealed the deal.
And the Master Ned connection is the perfect example of that capricious cruelty. The punishment isn't random. It's this dark, poetic, twisted justice based on his own petty stories.
Hmm.
Identity here it's fluid.
So we're leaving the party completely shattered. And that brings us to the final thought we want to leave you with.
Right. If the Elf Lord's entire palace is designed to deceive human perception, what is the true fate of Watchell? Is being turned to stone by a desert, a permanent magical state, or is it just another, sophisticated trick, another cruel lesson from a Fey Lord with all the time in the world, something to think about as Chubbs faces Master Ned alone in the dark?